temporary
I've
intro.
been watching a lot of Equals 3. You need the song intro. It doesn't have to make sense.
Oh, we can do a song intro. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah, just
work on
leave that,
Not on
and
guitar.
then you get an idea.
Not a guitar, nothing
I
like
was
that.
thinking
Not
like-
like an actual song.
I was thinking like.
Good beatbox.
Yeah, I was thinking like in what's the word? Native people. What do you call them? Indigenous beatboxing and just like throat singing.
Is that?
Yeah, like that. That's what you want. That's how you want it to go. All right. What's the first episode called?
First episode called, the
Band
series
Basics.
is called Behind the Band.
With me, it's behind the band that was.
Behind the band that was. I thought it should be more like building a band. It's more like.
It's behind the scenes.
Call it deconstructing a band, because then it's not just about building a band, it could be about everything. I could talk about
True.
why bands can break up, because I've experienced that. What works
That's
when you
true.
build bands, what doesn't work, especially with money and, you know, finding gigs and shit like that. So it's not just...
Yeah.
Wait, money?
Yeah.
You guys make money? Fuck.
So it doesn't happen anymore ever.
Well, when you start to... Like, you never make much, but when you do,
No.
like, what you should probably do with it and stuff like
Yeah, it's in my list.
that. Yeah.
But it's
Cool.
Alright, so
And... Yeah.
have you got that list of bands you guys played with? So I can be like, Bo. How do you pronounce your last name?
Barrett.
Barrett. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be like rude and be
Bo
like it's actually
Barrett.
Barret or
I asked
Barrett
Matt...
or
Okay, yeah. It's all over the place. It's just in some messages I was asking him. I was like, who the fuck do we play with? And then he was just like, Cradle of Filth, The Red Shore, Parkway Drive, Friends Were Wrong.
Played with Red Shore? Was
Yeah.
that the original Red Shore or was it
Yeah, it
post?
would have been the original one. Green Spoon. And
oh yeah.
yeah, but in terms of our music, like Dark Funeral, Cradle of Filth were probably our biggest ones.
Cradle of Filth.
Because we were kind of like them, I guess. When we
Yeah.
were
Did you meet Danny?
no, I didn't meet him. The other guys went out to... We played in Perth. Like we flew over there to play with those guys. And then after the gig, me and Alex were pussies and went back. And there was a little Asian man that smelled like cabbage in our room, but we were just hanging out there and talking. And then, yeah, but the other guys went out to the after party. And Danny didn't turn up, but the guitarist and the drummer, I think, came.
Yeah.
And they were hanging out with them, and they were real cool. And, you know, being all British or whatever they were. And I think the guitarist had this, like, black powder stuff, which was, I don't know... I don't know if they found out it was this, or if that was just what they rumored to be, but apparently it was, like, cocaine and gunpowder, and the guy was just, like, sniffing it out of this thing, and just tripping balls, or, you know, peeking on this stuff. Yeah, but they came a bit later. So, yeah, those guys got to meet some of the band, but, yeah. I don't know what Danny's doing. He's probably a bit too cool for that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine he has like
Yeah.
a false persona, and in actual fact, like he'd gone home and put
Have you
slippers
actually heard his interviews?
on. No.
False persona, man. I tell you what, that guy.
Yeah, he's like, what's he say? He's like, fuck Jesus Christ, something on his t-shirt, or he's like, he wears that around like it's not a thing. But then he speaks really eloquently and really nice, and you know, it's kind of like Marilyn Manson. He had that same thing going because he was like, you know, you see him on stage. He probably is a fucking crazy dude off stage, but he speaks real well and he's reasonably educated.
Yeah.
Like there's that.
He's a pretty intelligent man.
Yeah, you see that documentary about the Columbine shooting, and he's on that, and he's just talking about. Like I think they got him on there because they thought maybe that his music, you know, was inspiring people to shoot other people, but he kind of talked
He
around
was
that.
somewhat of a scapegoat at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna cut that bit and move it backwards.
Or you could just say, the podcast is starting now, but what happened beforehand was just cool, we're going to leave that in.
Could do that too. Alright, so
Podcast
yeah,
begins.
podcast starting. So welcome to the podcast, all. This lovely gentleman is Ash,
Hi.
and our lovely guest for this
Guest.
evening. Guest. I already fucked it up. Guest for this evening
Wonderful
is
stuff.
Bo Barrett, formerly of Lamort, who has played with some crazy bands, such as.
Yeah. Hey guys. I play with Cradle of Filth, The Red Shore, Dark Funeral, Rotting Christ, Frankenbog, Parkway Drive. Did I say that already?
Maybe.
Layout as Murder. Yeah. They're like the most notable ones, but then a lot more local acts as well. So
Yeah. So you guys
Yeah.
obviously,
had a bit of exposure.
yeah, took it like a step further than most local bands would.
Yeah.
So basically, this first episode is just about starting bands, like how you actually find people and pick a genre and names and that kind of stuff. So how did you guys...
Names is fun.
Yeah, names is fun. I think last one I did was with a band name generator on the internet. I just keep refreshing it until I found one good word. I was like, ooh, that's good. And I put that into the useless word bit and I just keep hitting it until I find another word.
Tell me that wasn't good excuse.
That was good excuse.
That was good excuse.
That was good excuse
That's the
for a
longest name I've
revolution.
ever heard.
Yeah. I was like, good excuse. Yeah, that sounds like it could be good. And then all these things, it was like, good excuse for an Eskimo.
That would have been so much better than good excuse for a revolution.
Well, it didn't really suit the music though.
No, it didn't.
Some bands real lazy though. Parkway Drive. It's like, did that guy just walk out his front door and be like, that'll do? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Wasn't that like the Hilltop Hoods? Didn't they live in a place called Hilltop?
I like Evergreen Terrace.
Evergreen Terrace. That's like a Simpsons reference there.
Yeah. I like The Simpsons.
But how would you... Like, I always find male names bizarre. Like, they're always really weird.
Rotting
All actually,
Christ.
yeah, something
abortion.
Like, yeah.
Just kind of think of something brutal.
Yeah, I think
That'll
the
do.
middle
Brutal
names are by far the easiest names to come up with. You think of two really, really shit things and put
Immortal.
them together and people are like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
True.
It just has to be badass, and you get away with it. Our name doesn't really... Our Lamort wasn't that badass. It means the death, I think, in French.
That's still pretty bad.
I didn't know it was
But-
French. That makes it a little bit girly.
Yeah, I was...
Actually, that's not bad.
Because Lamort, I think Lamort, that's love, and then Lamort is death, or something like that. Don't quote me on any of this.
Okay. I'm
Research.
sure nobody will ask.
Yeah, research
or tell you
Wikipedia, but anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sure we researched far enough to go, oh, the death, okay, that'll do. But I'm not sure if you pronounce it slightly differently, and it means something completely different, and then, you know, so if we've been walking around, especially with our Aussie accents, it's probably, you know, Lamort or something in French, and we're just like, Lamort.
Yeah.
So it probably means nothing, but it kind of sounds
believe
cool.
it means a whale.
And then, but before we came to that, we were like 10 different names, and we've written them on all practice. We had this little farmhouse in the middle of nowhere where we practiced, and on all the walls we had different names. We used to call that Perennial Rain. I think that was one I remember. I have no idea what the others were, but they're on, like, you can kind of go back and it's kind of like a history of our band at this little farmhouse we used to practice in. So you can, yeah, it's, some of them were retarded, but we were really big on, I think, Perennial Rain at one point, but yeah. And then, but Lamort kind of worked well, and then we got some guy to design their logo, and it made it real symmetrical, and it looked real metal in the end. It was kind of cool. Like,
That was
that
me.
you?
That was me.
You did our logo?
Yeah, I fixed it up because it was all fucked up.
Oh, you fixed it, but the original
Well, I
guy.
don't know who did the original one, but
Yeah, I think it was some dude in America did it.
It was bugging me so much. Like
Yeah.
every time I saw it, I was just like,
Yeah, you made it ultra symmetrical, because the
Seriously.
first time it was a bit kind of, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, it was.
Ah,
It was just like looking at something that someone had purposely moved, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
just tilt it a little bit, and it'll be good.
Because the guy, he used to like just hand draw them,
Yeah.
and then he just got like a black mark or whatever that, and then scanned it into a computer, I think, and then kind of probably fixed up slightly in Photoshop, but it was still very hand drawn.
You know, I redid half of it and then flipped it and then reshaped it so it was the right letters.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, there's just
because our
some bits
old
in there.
T-shirts, it just looks like someone got a whiteout
Yeah.
T-shirt. It was kind of like, check it out, it's us. It's pretty underground, but it was kind of cool because we were like, yeah, we're badass, we're black metal, we gotta get on that. So,
I remember I did a version that was all like rusted metal and like splattered onto like a red orb and stuff.
yeah,
And Dave was like, "Oh, that's sick."
yeah,
And I think Josh was the keyboardist. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a little bit too different from what it was, and I'm not sure if the fans will accept having it so different."
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I added flanges to it, like just
Flanges?
big pointed jagged
Oh,
things
right,
that didn't
yeah.
really need
Yeah.
to be there.
I made little changes for one of our album covers. I remember that was about it. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a cool logo.
Yeah, I reckon it looked pretty good.
It was that classic sort of metal.
Yeah, because there's
Craziness.
all those signs where they're semi-symmetrical and you have no idea what's going on. It just looks like a bunch of scratches, but if you kind of focus on it, it looks like...
It's like the
something.
metal version of the hip hop tags.
Yeah.
It's all like bubbly
Yeah.
letters. You're like, is that an S?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, definitely like that.
But how did you guys pick a genre? Like,
We never picked a genre. One day in year 8, I think it was Dave and Matt. I think Matt may have played drums for this, and Dave was practicing, and he said, "Hey guys, we start a band," and I never played music in my life. And then I think I just put my hand up and said, "I'll play bass." And then the next day, I must have told my mum that night, "Can I have a bass guitar?" And then she went and somehow located one off, I don't know, a family friend or something like this. And then I had a bass guitar at school the next day and I was starting lessons. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what a bass guitar is. I don't know shit. And then after probably a few months, we started like practicing together in the school rooms, in the music rooms. And I think we were just playing like real basic generic rock stuff like Foo Fighters and what else we played? I think we, like, just to get the ball rolling, we were even starting as like low down as like Smoke on the Water. And then then I started learning heaps of like more funky stuff. We didn't really practice that stuff, but I did a lot of slap bass, and I think that's the thing.
You get a bass, you start learning funk.
Yeah, totally. So, but it was kind of nice to be able to know that, because in Lemoore we ended up just using picks the whole time, because the pace is so fast that I can't really play with my fingers, or at least it doesn't sound. It's nowhere near as much precision.
It's not as clear.
Yeah,
I think if you're doing metal like that, the pick really.
Yeah, especially with the bass, and if I'm trying to keep up with the drummer as well, who's fucking moving a million miles an hour, I'd just be a bit disjointed if I'm kind of jogging along with on my fingers.
When I played in a heavy band, I used to use 3 and get the 3 fingers going at once.
Yeah, well, I tried 4 at one point as well.
My pinky's too short.
That's the issue. You had to kind of do this, but then it just was just strange. And then a few times I think I even tried to introduce a bit of slap bass into some of the songs. I think there might have been one where I did a little bit of it, but it's just a bit too poppy and it just didn't suit the sound, so you can't really do that. But yeah, so we started that, and then we kind of progressed more and more. Like started doing like Slipknot and Mudvayne. I don't know if you know those guys.
Yeah. One of my year 12 assessments was a Mudvayne song.
Yeah. So we did this stuff, and we that was the next phase, and we were like, yeah, this stuff's cool. And then one day, for some reason, I remember it specifically, but we were at swimming sports, and Dave came up and showed me Cradle of Filth for the first time. He's like, we should do this. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I can't even understand what's going on. And I thought it was so far beyond what we were already doing. But then somehow we must have just started practicing those songs, because Matt was like, yeah, that's real cool, and Dave probably was really into it, and it's fast and technical, so that kind of as you're growing as a musician, you want to play more and more technical stuff, I guess, and that was kind of what we saw and what those guys saw. I was indifferent. I was like, I don't really care what we play, I have fun with whatever. And then so then we started playing that kind of stuff, and then I don't think we really wrote too many of our own songs until probably later on in high school. And then we also played a lot for our school, but by this stage we were already playing like Rammstein songs. And so we had a guy called Clinton who was singing for us, and he was singing the full like German lyrics. We played like Du hast, and that was real funny, and everyone was like, what the fuck's going on? And then then we ended up playing some of our more heavier songs towards the end, and we kind of just became metal. And then with that came the whole look, and we're like, fuck, then we got it all, people started growing their hair in the band, and then we got Dave's parents made us like full leather jackets with armour and spikes.
I remember Dave had like, what was it? It was cricket pads painted black with spikes put in them.
No, the spikes I think were golf tees. Glued on the other way, and then they were spray painted like silver or something like that.
Yeah, there was silver or some kind.
So it was really cool, but the jackets looked rad. Like I had like massive armour on one side, and then like had a brace on here, I think with on my right arm, with spikes, and then like an alien style spine with like all these black things sticking out, so it looked like you had like an alien versus Predator alien style spine. And then so that was intense, and then I ended up just like putting black makeup on my face and white all the way down my chest, and again like we evolved into this genre, and I kind of dig some of the music, but it's not like my first preference, I guess, for listening, but the other guys fully were into it, but I was just kind of playing along. But it was great to get up on stage, and I had like an alter ego really, where I had fucking like just a leather jacket on, nothing on underneath, had paint on me, and I was just fucking go mad and say like, just fucking sticking my tongue and just being a jerk, and it was rad.
I remember the first sort of band I ever started, like it was just some dudes in class, and we just did covers. All we did was covers, and we just play at lunchtime to get out. Like we play at lunchtime so we could practice during class to get out of class.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
But all we did was play Limp Bizkit and Rage Against the Machine because our singer couldn't sing. He's like, I can talk, rap, sort of. I'm like, alright, well, we'll just do that then.
Yeah.
So that was literally all we played to start with.
Do you think, right, when you're getting up on the stage, and this is for a band starting out, and even advanced bands, people who have nerves getting on stage, did the whole makeup and alter ego thing help you actually get over it when you're on stage?
I think that's
Did you
pretty
still have the
question.
butterflies? Or
When we played at school, for example, we didn't have any of that, and that was doubly intimidating because I don't have the alter ego, and then also the fact that everyone's going to be judging us because how many people, we're like the metal kids that got bullied probably quite a bit by everyone, so we're still getting up and playing in front of this crowd that's not interested in us at all. But it was like practice, like nothing would be as bad as that, I guess. And then like I remember really dreading our gigs at school. Like, do we have to fucking do this? I don't want to play at school. This is shit. And then I'm getting up there and I'm fucking just looking around like, I'm gonna get so much shit for playing this metal song in front of all these jocks. They're just looking at me waiting to kill us. But they kind of left us alone towards the end. You got a lot of shit, but in year 12 everyone's like, fuck it, each their own. And then there's a lot of people that end up loving metal that probably gave a shit in year 12. You're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it's just...
I remember
but that's high school, so...
I remember in my year 12 music class, we had to do songs for our assessments.
Yeah.
And so it was like a very varied group. Like, we had girls who would sing pop songs, so we had to learn these pop songs and begrudgingly learn them and just complain about them the whole time.
Yeah.
But obviously I picked a Chili Peppers song because it's funky, it's on bass. And I got my friend Aaron to sing it, which was interesting because he's a metal dude, like super metal.
I remember him.
And for his song, he wanted to do Mudvayne Happy.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, yeah, that'll be fun. So I was just like completely prepared, knowing full well that nobody's going to like it.
Yeah.
So like, we'll just play it, we'll rock out, we'll have fun, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
And just expect dead silence, or like the one clap, just the...
Yeah.
I've had that
So, well, we played it, and we were jumping around, having heaps of fun, going nuts, and Aaron's like,
Yeah.
and stopped the song, and expecting it to be dead silent, everyone was like, yeah! Oh, awesome! You can't simulate more than one clapping, so it didn't really sound...
faster.
But, yes, no, I was really surprised. Like, it was not what I was expecting everyone's response to be.
Yeah, maybe your school was just cooler. I went to an all boys school, so egos are high.
I feel like an old boys' school would be more into metal than...
Well, I went to St. Joseph's College, and that's pretty darn sporty as well. So it kind of fosters a kind of, I don't know, douchebag attitude a little bit.
a lot of mix at Geelong High because there was the band dude who went on to do Jet, and he was a year above me. Who was in Hydrogen 4.
His stepbrother was
sing
at my
about
school.
John Travolta.
Yeah. Cool.
And we were a Manson cover band.
Yeah.
Of all things.
Yeah, we played Manson. I think everyone played a bit of Manson.
It was a to-do list thing that everyone had when they were growing up.
Yeah.
Teenage angst.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that idea of having an alter ego is brilliant. I should start doing that.
Yeah, that was... sorry, get back to the question. When we were on stage, you still got a little bit nervous, but once you get up there, I'm like, alright, I'm this badass dude, and I'm just gonna fucking tear it up. And then after a while, you kind of really love that feeling. And we kind of were playing at a pretty awesome time. There was heaps of competitions on, and music was a pretty big deal in Geelong.
Yeah, I remember
don't
we
know if
used
it's
to
the
do it all the
same.
time.
It's not as cool anymore.
Well, I don't know, because we're not in the high school scene
while.
anymore.
Yeah.
I think, in general, when that metal phase finished in Geelong,
Yeah.
like Red Shaw, when they were big,
Yeah.
Geelong was pumping with music.
Yeah.
And then the kind of hipster indie phase kicked in hardcore after post-hardcore, and it died a little bit. I think it's coming back now.
Yeah.
It's a lot different to what it was. I don't think metal is still really that
Well,
popular
then
in
we
Geelong
had the big
anymore.
hardcore phase as well. And there's a lot of
Yeah,
hardcore
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure that's kind of done. Like the post-hardcore
Yeah.
is still there, but now a lot of acoustics, a lot of prog rock. Prog rock seems to be the way to go at the moment.
Yeah.
Like Spinning Half and all of the big events that's happening at the moment. There's a lot of Selenicos, there's a lot of Insignia.
Yeah.
A band starting with A that I dare not say. And then, so I think the next phase is prog rock.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be nice if it just picked up in general. Just
Yeah, I feel,
So I think the scene is alive again.
I feel maybe I was exposed to all of that a bit more because I was back there, living in but I just felt like we had a competition every couple of weeks.
well, I feel like
And
we
we
had
had
gigs
mass-
every week.
Yeah, and we had two, no, not really two shows, but we almost had two shows in the one night as well at one point, and
I think
we
you
always
guys-
had massive crowds as well. Whenever we played, I think people were just keen on seeing music. I'm not sure if we were just popular with people, but I think people were just keen to go out and, fucking meet other young people that were just wanting to.
I feel like we had more events though when we.
Yeah, and there was heaps more events. Yeah.
Like actually, I just remembered a time you guys played down at the waterfront with Killing Heidi.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That should be another one on the list. Yeah.
No one never really popular though. It's kind of like on the
yeah.
I don't know, bounce back.
Yeah. But that was a crazy gig, cool. And we were like this metal band playing in freaking middle of summer, or not middle of summer, but it was like really warm and sunny. We didn't even I was wearing like a wife beater, and we were just fucking playing up on that stage, and that was really cool. There's a shitload of people there as well.
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of Lamort fans, a lot of metal people around.
Yeah. And
the hosts for it were these two hip hop chicks.
Yeah.
And they just got destroyed.
Yeah.
Like they were like trying to be like, yo, word, this is dope. And people were like, shut up, we don't like you, and like people throwing bottles at them.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then I think there was a band that was on after us. So they came. We had this massive crowd with us, and we might have been pretty close to our peak. So we had a pretty good following.
Yeah,
and then
I think that was near Rory's last show, actually.
Yeah, when Alex came in, we did a lot of cool stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, anyways, before that, get into that though. Yeah, we had a massive crowd, and then the next band that came up was not metal in the slightest, and they were only like a 3-piece. And as soon as we finished, our crowd just disappeared, and whatever remained was like a fragment. There's like 10 people standing there, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, what happened then?" Like they thought they thought the event was a big success, but it just happened that everyone turned out for us, and then bailed, and not really bragging, but it was just really strange. Like that was when we first realised, like, fuck, we do have a bit of a following, and we didn't realise that at that time, which was cool.
Yeah. Did it put the pressure on when you, like as a band, when you found out that you've actually got a following, did it put the pressure on to stick with it, write new songs, pretty much put all other projects to the side and concentrate on the band and maybe thinking of just concentrating on being a musician as a job?
It definitely crossed probably all of our minds, but a few of us were pretty keen on. We just treated it like a hobby really, and we just got lucky. We were treating this like a hobby. There's a few of us like in the band were taking it pretty seriously. I won't name names or anything, but yeah. I won't get into any of the.
We won't go into any sort of details.
Yeah, the band. Yeah, it's like structure and economics. We'll leave that alone. But we all. Most of us were probably taking it more as a hobby, and yeah, we just got real lucky with that. We weren't trying really hard to get big or anything. We were just happy playing shows, and then we just kind of kept getting booked to do the next thing. We just like ask if we could play here, and we ended up playing at Pushover, which is probably at one of our bigger gigs, which had I don't know how many people, but in the thousands of people were there.
Yeah.
And then then we got flown over to Perth to play with Cradle of Filth. So and that probably had the same kind of numbers, like thousands of people, because it's for Cradle of Filth.
Yeah.
And and this is like we're just finishing high school when all of this was happening, and we were like, fuck, what are we going to do with our lives? And I wasn't really certain if this was going to be a suitable means for a living at that point. Like we were doing well, but I was like, fuck, I don't know how long this is going to last or what's going on. And I never really saw it that way. But when we were getting pretty big, I was like, I could go along with this, but it just seemed like too much of a risk. And then it ended up being the reason why I left the band was because I was at university while we were doing all this, and then I was getting into my final years, and it was a bit too full on, and I was like, I got to leave the band. And I think we're in a bit of a lull at that point as well between gigs. Maybe it was the tail end of that awesome cycle in Geelong. We didn't have as many local gigs, and there wasn't much. We weren't getting booked as much, I guess, in Melbourne or anything like that. So yeah, and I think it just worked out well for me to leave at that point. But yeah, it was mainly because of just studies. And then one of the other guitarists, Tom Brislane, he ended up leaving because of the same reasons. And our original keyboardist eventually left as well because I can't really remember what he was into. He just kind of moved to Melbourne and kind of focused on a different scene. I don't think he was that big into metal very much.
He never struck me as a real metal dude.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't really try too hard to kind of make the look but he's a great keyboardist, and he did well with us. But I don't know. I never saw it like that. Dave in the band, he was super keen on it. I think Matt would have been pretty happy, for it to become a career. But yeah, it's just I didn't really see it going that way. But I never had that love for music as well. Initially, it was kind of like Dave's like, "You want to start a band? You want to do it?" And then I grew to love music. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a passion from like being a kid. I was like, fucking, I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be in a band forever. But I always had like a different kind of set of goals. Yeah.
Yeah, I randomly just at the beginning of high school was like, yeah, I'll play guitar. Why not? Jumped
Yeah.
on the bass, started learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was no. It wasn't like I've always wanted to be a musician or anything. Like I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go, see what happens.
Yeah.
Just haven't stopped since then.
I started bass because I didn't want to be left out of the group. They started the band pretty much the same
Yeah.
as Bo, and then I just
Yeah,
thought,
that
well, fuck, these guys are going to be hanging out, doing all this shit, getting drunk pretty soon, so
Yeah.
I got to get myself
Getting
a bass.
birds. We could never pick up anyone in our crowd because they're always like 3 or 4 years younger than us. And we're like, why is everyone 14 and we're 18? You know? Yeah. But, yeah, now, because I'm like kind of spreading my wings a little bit and trying anything out for a career because I'm an engineer now because that's what I studied. And I've been to Germany and worked on, at a space transportation manufacturing facility. And they design space shuttles and satellite stuff. So I've like been to the peak of my career almost, or what I could have done with my career. Because you can't. Now that NASA's down, you know, they were at Astrium where I worked with the next big thing, and they're the like one of the only few companies sending shuttles up there. So I got like a glimpse of what I could have been doing with my life, and I didn't. And like being in Europe was rad and partying and traveling around there, but like the job kind of bored me a little bit, and. Yeah, since I've been back, I've been having like little revelations about life. I'm like, fuck, I should have just, went hard with the band. I would have had so much more fun. And if shit went down, who gives a shit? I had awesome fun while I was young, rocking out and enjoying it. And yeah, and that's the other thing you've noticed a bit probably as well, where I've just been getting full into video and I just want to make video clips. But now I always feel bad that I've left it. I feel like I've left it too long. I'm not old, but, there's all these guys who are freaking making rad movies and video clips and stuff, and they're like 18, 19, and making music still, and I've been out of music for a few years now. I just sell my bass guitar when I moved to Melbourne and all my other shit. Yeah. So I've been out of music for a while now as well. So.
I went through a phase of just starting bands, trying to get something going again. And I got to the point where I was just like, if I can't get into a band that's already established and have songs, because I can't really rewriting everything and all that kind of stuff, I was like, I'll just stop, I'll sell my stuff. And then like a month later I joined what kind of genre was Good Excuse?
I'd say it was like alternative hard rock.
Yeah. So I joined that, and that was probably the heaviest band I'd ever been in. A bit of screaming and whatnot involved, but that was fun. I enjoyed that. Like, they're fun songs to play.
Yeah.
Like, because you get to be more energetic. Like, it seems it's more reasonable to be more energetic.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had more of a persona with that band, like, because I'm a fairly happy, smiley kind of guy, and then like, you put the guitar on and you get like the serious face. You're like, time to play some guitar and whatnot.
I think it's that classic point. When you're in a band, did you ever feel the pressure to write, probably not so much from your genre, but pressure to write what was current in the scene?
No, we did the opposite, pretty much, I thought.
You maybe think you got a lot of the following from breaking away from the crowd and then picking up all the outcasts where everyone else was kind of stuck in the mainstream.
Well, the local scene we had when we were in high school was it was pretty varied, actually.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of stuff going on.
I found that a lot of people were into metal, but
definitely.
definitely not. We became black metal, really, in the end. And not many people were into that. And the black metal we listened to was from, like, Norway, and like, Dimmu Borgir was a big one that everyone liked. I don't know if they...
But I think...
And Cradle of Filth, but they were very... they didn't have probably the biggest audience, especially in Australia. And then we started playing that kind of crazy stuff, and it was probably sounding real different to people. And, a lot of normal metal bands don't have a keyboard, and that brings a crazy new dynamic to music. We were playing, like, freaking techno black metal at one point. It's just kind of really fun. It was kind of, the music where you just fucking wanted to punch shit, but then it was kind of, had real cool, like, tasty beats with it as well sometimes, and people were just kind of like, fuck, I don't know what I'm listening to, but this is kind of fun. I think people got down with that.
Yeah, we loved jumping around to that stuff. It was great fun. But yeah, like, I remember another big band was Makeshift, and they were like, punky sort of stuff, and then...
And they had a big following as well, but...
Yeah, they were popular.
Yeah. There was like a stage where there was a few bands where, like, it was Lamort and Makeshift.
There's another band,
and we played
I can't remember what they're called, but they were like alternative stuff. Their singer was called Kyle, and he played keyboards.
Yeah,
and Jared.
I'm still friends with Kyle.
Jared, what was the band? called?
They were Lost Order.
Lost Order. Yes, they were big as well, but they were much more alternative
Yeah.
sort of stuff, weren't they?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
It was
variation going on.
All of us, 3 different genres, and then there's a few other bands which towards like the tail end we started playing with like hardcore, like Fallen Theory and stuff, and Matt ended up playing with them, our drum. But anyways, we kind of always had gigs, and people would be excited to see all of us, even though we were a completely different genre. I think people were just excited to see music.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck yeah, we love these guys. They're fucking American punk. Oh, fuck, black metal. Like, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, look, just hard rock. What the fuck? Everyone was just kind of,
I just remember our vet music group would just, like, most of the guys, well, at least one person from most of those bands was in that little group we had going.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we enjoyed going to see everybody play live.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was good.
I feel like we keep escaping the questions. What was the question though initially with that?
No. You answer the question because it was
the
a lot of the
mask
pressure
wasn't it?
that's in Geelong, for instance, these days is, and when we were in an alternative hard rock band, was we were a standalone band in the wrong scene at the wrong time. So it was almost like if we were 5 years later, we would have been perfect. If we were 9 years earlier, we would have been perfect. But for that time, everyone came out to see hardcore. Everyone came out to see new metal, and then they'd kind of hear us, and it wouldn't be in their kind of scope. So we'd miss out, and that was the key. Now, when you've got folk, acoustic, and kind of Brit rock, and then prog rock, whether bands in Geelong, like whether they feel the pressure as a band to actually kind of move into the mainstream market or do what they want to do. And so you answered, you pretty much did your own thing, and that was actually pretty successful by the sounds of it.
I think how we did well in the end was due to the competitions we went in. Because if we just went to, a gig, like we just went to the Nash one night and said, can we play with these guys? We'd be with a bunch of completely different bands. There'd probably be, like an acoustic dude and like maybe a punk rock band or whatever, and then us. And we'd be completely different, maybe, a bit of audience would come, they're like, oh yeah, there's some, punk rock playing, oh, there's an acoustic dude, so you'd be getting these weird audiences. But when we played at the competitions, you get heaps of people coming because they knew they were going to see different things. And then you'd grab a few people that would be like, oh yeah, those guys are pretty cool, we'll see them again. Did another competition, and so we could keep getting exposure to a pretty big audience because these competitions were set up, either with schools or, had pretty good promotion. So they had way more, people come versus just getting a Friday night, Saturday night gig where you're really promoting it yourself, I guess. It's on you to do it back then via MySpace, but trying to get your word out amongst, you only had like 50 followers at that point. Like, hey, not 50 people aren't going to come watch us. They're really just family, friends, and friends who just were like, oh yeah, my, nephew's in a band, I'll like him or whatever. Yeah, so it was the competitions. I feel like really boosted us and got heaps of exposure. And then the other thing, we were all fucking loved just hanging out with people as well. So as soon as the shows end, we'd be like down off the stage and like mingling in the crowd and just throwing our personalities out there. It was pretty cool. And we've had 2 real good front guys when I was there, Rory and Alex, who were fucking super personable. And you'd fall in love with them straight away. They just talk your ear off. So they would, people would fall in love with them. And like, oh yeah, you're really cool. I'll come watch you again. And like Rory used to hang out in like, crowds out in like just Geelong town and stuff, and just, he was always mingling with all our crowd that were into us. Yeah. So we had heaps of contact with the people, our fans. I don't know if I call them fans, but they're really just our friends almost.
People would come and watch you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was how we did pretty well. I reckon it was just the competitions and then just getting out there amongst.
Well, my band that I had at the time, when end of high school, was a funk rock band. And we would just play at the Nash and Barwon Club and that kind of thing. Random bits and pieces, but we never entered any competitions. Our drummer was a much older dude, so he was always out of that age bracket that you'd have to fall into for most of those things. Like, I think it was like mostly 25 and under. Yeah. So he was like just 25. It's like, I can't actually enter any of those. Yeah. But it was the exact thing you're saying. Like, it's 3 completely different bands playing, but that sometimes works in your favour. Like, you reach a much larger audience, and that's the thing. There's like very few people who just like one genre. Yeah. So people will go, I'm in the mood to listen to metal, so they go see a metal band, but if for some reason there was an acoustic guy, they'd be like, oh, he's not bad, I might see him another time if I'm in the mood for it.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel like we were... Sorry, I'll just quickly... I feel like we were different enough so that we could capture people that weren't just into black metal, because a lot of black metal bands don't have a keyboard. I feel like that kind of was our saving grace. It's just really fast guitars, real fast drums, and to a layman who's not really into music or metal really, it just kind of sound like nothing. Or they would only hear the voice.
it would blend to a noise.
Yeah, like my mum and all of our parents were like, yeah, we really love the music, but the singing, they couldn't get past the singing. Because if you took away the voice, it almost sounds like movie trailer soundtracks. If you just listen to the keyboard, just like really epic. You can imagine a big battle happening, and then there's just like kind of crazy drums and stuff, and it was just it kind of sounded cool until the voice came in. So we kind of sell us with the first 30 seconds of the song before someone starts singing. That's cool, and then someone starts screaming and be like, oh, that's not really into that, but the music, I'll stick around for that. And then I think you kind of feeding them a little bit of it, and then they want a little bit more, and then you kind of suck people into your genre that way. Almost.
That's funny, because it's like the exact opposite of what anybody who will tell you to write a song will say. Like, within 30 seconds, you go get the hook going.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, we'll leave the singing, we'll bring that back, so we'll like the music first. We'll just dip the toe in before diving straight into an ice pool.
Yeah. It's like, and it's like getting used to drinking wine or something.
Yeah.
You don't really like it in the beginning, but you can kind of drink beer, and so that's kind of like your metal, and then you kind of it's like as get crazy and crazy with your alcohols, you're going to get this. It's almost like an analogy.
Yeah.
Shitty analogy. Thinking about it. But yeah.
We touched on it a little bit, but like the treating a band like a business or a hobby, like that's always a tough one. I feel, because you get to a point, like I understand, like first few bands and whatnot, it's exactly what it is. It's just a hobby. It's something fun. You don't expect to be doing regular gigs or anything like that. But I feel like you get to a point like when you're trying to organise for adults, you kind of need to treat it more like a business to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah. You need to find the right bunch of guys, because I don't know how we just stuck really well together because we were getting pretty good shows, and it was a good incentive to stick together. But we're all completely different. None of us had the same goals.
Yeah.
So if you have a bunch of guys, it might work better as an adult because you've all probably got jobs. The band's on the side, you can set your time apart, and people are obviously in it because of the hobby. And so if you're still with the right bunch of guys and it starts to get bigger and bigger, maybe everyone will be like, yeah, we don't need to work anymore. We're doing pretty well with this,
That'd be nice.
Yeah, of course, that's the dream for everyone. But you need to have the right bunch of people. Yeah, and that's why so many bands fucking drop people.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the next thing. Like, do you how far do you go? Because if you do treat it like a business, if you were running a business and you had someone working for you that was shit, you would just fire them.
Yeah.
But I feel like a band is a little bit different. It's like a cross between a girlfriend and a family.
Yeah. We never really got rid of anyone. People generally left when I was there. I'm not sure about what happened after me. It didn't really persist too long after I left. Not that really needed me because the band was all because of me. No, but it just kind of fizzles out a little bit. It probably lasts another couple of years or something for that. But yeah. With the business side of things, though, Tom Brisley, our guitarist, is super awesome organisation man, and he would look after all the money that we made. I sound like we're making each money.
That was the next question.
But like treating like a business, we would kind of. He was kind of really good at setting up that, okay, every Tuesday night we'll practice. I think at one point we were doing Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we'd have a gig on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we didn't practice, if we didn't have a gig, we often went to the farmhouse, and we practiced out there. So we were practicing heaps, and we practiced at school, and we made ourselves pretty tight, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
And then obviously making new material takes a long time as well.
Yeah, especially when there's were there like 6 of you guys in the band?
Yeah. So a lot of the time it'd just be like 2 people in the music, like we in our farmhouse. We had a room where the music room, and we'd sleep in the other room. But a lot of the time, just be 2 people just working a riff out or something, and then someone would yell, "Hey, Bo, come in here, check this." Then they'd be playing it, and then I'd make a bit for it, and then we'd be like, "All right, cool." Then we'd throw another layer on, and then we keep throwing layers on and see how it sounds at the end. If that riff sounds good with everyone, then we're like, "Cool." Or if something doesn't sound right, we change that, and if it's shit, then we get rid of it. But you know, it took like 3 hours to get to this final stage, and then it gets scrapped after. I'm like, fuck. So then you start again. So we'd be at this farmhouse like 3 days in a row, and there's like no shower or toilet. So we fucking have like outdoor dunnies and shit. And we used to have heaps of fun, like crazy parties out there and try and scare the shit out of each other. It was just a creepy little farmhouse. But yeah, that we all managed our time pretty well. And then to get into your next question, which I mentioned without you actually asking the question, about the money side of things.
Yep.
Tom, Mr. Businessman, he kind of looked after all that. So we had a little bit of money coming because we won a few competitions, and we decided very early on that none of us would keep the money. It would go into like a band kitty.
Yep.
So I can't remember if it went into his bank account and he just looked after it. We all had complete faith and trust in him. He's not the kind of guy to kind of screw us. Or if he put it somewhere separate or whatever. But yeah, he looked after it.
You put it under his mattress.
Yeah, he probably put it there, a little money bag or something. But yeah,
he's dollar sign.
Yeah, but we did that, and then whenever we needed like band expenses, that money would pay for that. So whether we needed like all our amps were paid for with this money. So none of us bought our own amps. I think most of us bought our own guitars initially.
Yep.
But any kind of musical equipment after that was paid for it by a band kitty, which is rad. So
what happens then? Like when you left, if it was paid for by the band, does the band keep?
Yeah, so the band kept the amp. So
yep.
I didn't grow attached or anything. I made sure I had no love for it, so it's okay. So that was looked after by that. So once we got to that point, the band wasn't a drag on us. We weren't spending any of our own money really to look after it. And then plus we were selling a shitload of t-shirts and CDs. I mean, t-shirts are good. CDs, you buy a CD once.
Yeah.
But then t-shirts, you bring out a new design. Every 6 months or whatever, every couple of months we'll have a few designs to go with from the start, and everyone will fucking want
buy
these
each one.
And we were selling pretty cheap as well, and you wheel and deal on the day. If people are like, I've only got $10, but I'll take it for $10, and that's exposure as well, because they're wearing your t-shirt.
Yeah.
So t-shirts are rad, and especially if you make a really cool design, and you get it for pretty cheap, it's almost invaluable asset to you to have a band, just to have a t-shirt, I reckon.
Yeah, right.
Especially if it looks cool, because even if people didn't even watch your band, or they were like, yeah, they weren't hugely into you. If your t-shirt looks rad and they're at a gig, band t-shirts are fucking rad to have. It's $20. Here's $20.
Yeah.
I can't buy 3 beers tonight, but then it's probably good for them anyways. You can drive home tonight. Woohoo! But
exactly.
Yeah. So that was. Yeah, we kind of were treating it like a business almost in the end, but I didn't think about it like a business. Tom looked after all that. I was just partying.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It seems like it's a good idea to have like one person to sort things out. Well, there's been times where we've decided not to have band practices a certain week, like someone's birthday or something's going on, and everybody assumed someone else was going to tell the person they were supposed to practice from, so we'd get there next week and be like, so we owe them twice as much money because none of us told them.
Yeah. That... I don't know if that really ever happened, because we'd expect the message from Tom, but then also we were at school at that time, so we'd see each other every day, and then afterwards we were, after we left school, we were in a pretty good mode where it didn't really matter. We knew what was up, and Tom kind of looked after it, and I never thought really hard about anything. I was just going, you play this, do that, cool.
That seems like a bass player thing too. Like,
totally. I didn't really write many songs, and I didn't.
Really you read that? Oh, cool. Here's 3 notes.
Hanging out.
How's that sound?
Yeah, totally. So it's actually pretty fun being a bass player in the end. Especially in my position, if you're like a creative type and you really love writing music, you'd probably be a bit more involved. But because I'm not the key element really, I'm just kind of like the glue holding everything together, but not that noticed. It wasn't a big deal.
Keep the rhythm going.
Yeah, keep the rhythm going.
You mentioned it a little bit before, but the goals, like you said, everybody had different goals and stuff, and I was just thinking I suppose it's different from when you're a kid and you first join your first band. You're just really excited about it in general, but to try and keep everyone motivated and keep morale up and stuff, like it seems like it'd be a good idea to have some short-term goals and a combination of some long-terms. Like be like, all right, so we'd like to record a CD and we'd like to go on tour or something like that. Something that seems like it's going to be really far away, but then try and keep some short-term goals to keep that sense of achievement going, I guess.
Yeah, totally. We had that, not always by choice, it just kind of worked out that way, but we always had something to look forward to and to work to next. It was kind of like, alright, we're recording our CD in, 6 months or a few, not even that. Everything was pretty quick, it was pretty rapid. So we're like, all right, we're going to write heaps of new songs. We're going to practice so we're fucking tight, and then when we go in there, we'll be, pretty rad. And then sometimes we even had songs which weren't even that ready, but we kind of record them anyways, and then they turned out okay in the end anyways. But a lot of the stuff we recorded was pretty bang on. So we had, so that to look forward to. Then we had heaps of competitions. Then we had our little gigs as well on the side. And then we had a few gigs that weren't competition related, which were with a reasonably big band as well. So we kind of just... I don't even know how we found gigs. I never found a gig. There's like Tom, Josh, or Dave probably that were doing, and maybe Rory as well. I'm not sure. I don't think Alex really hunted too much. But yeah,
Alex doesn't strike me as the hunting type.
Yeah, but I don't see. You really need to get one of those other guys on to really cover this. I was like a voyeur of my own band. I was just watching everything happen from the side, and I was like, oh, cool, that's happening now. We're playing with these guys, cool. So, I forget the question. What we were talking about? Goals. Yeah. So that was cool. So yeah, we always had something to look forward to, but. It's hard to do it if you're just beginning because, your first goal would be obviously let's get a gig somewhere.
Let's write some songs.
Yeah, and then, maybe you'd be like, okay, after a year of being together, let's go record a CD somewhere, It doesn't have to be super expensive, we don't have to worry about getting mastered or something. Let's just find a guy who's just starting up, he's recording a studio, or we can do it ourselves, microphones aren't too expensive. Just to get something on a CD and listen back to it ourselves and, just get that ball rolling. And then, then you'd be like, all right, I want to play at some big venue in Melbourne by the end of the next year. And then once you've set the goal, I think it's pretty nice because then you'd be like, okay, how the fuck would we end up playing there? Oh, we need to get a few gigs at these places and you get some exposure out, around Melbourne area or whatever. And, it's just kind of having a goal makes you build the stairs to that goal. Whereas if you don't have the goal, then you're just kind of just floating, I guess.
Yeah, you kind of go to practice and stuff and you're kind of like,
yeah,
is this all we're doing? Really?
Yeah. And if you have like a gig like every couple of either every couple of weeks or once a month or whatever.
Well, I was going to say that's the thing. Like
you kind of have to be practicing because if you don't have a gig, if say you've got no gig lined up for the next few months, then what's the real incentive to be practicing all the time?
Yeah, I always find if we have a gig coming up, I'm more willing to practice longer and more intently than just going through and going, we haven't got a gig, we don't really need to practice. It's not as important.
Yes, sorry. On the gig front, did you find being in a band it was best to take any gig that came to you or choose the gigs wisely?
I don't think we ever turned down a gig.
So you just if a gig was there, you took it, and even if there was no one there, hypothetically.
No, like we've had gigs where there was like no one there. Really, I think we took everything unless there was like we had an exam the next day or something like that. That's high school time. And then after that, I still had those same issues, I guess, because I studied, went to uni straight away. But, unless there was some crazy conflict, we'd still play. I feel like we've played gigs without a complete band as well. Like without Tom not being there, or we've done a band without the keyboard. We've played a few of our songs where the keyboard wasn't heavy. So we took everything we could. Because even if there's not many people there, there's still some exposure, there's still something there. You played that venue, you got to try out, you got to see what the mix was like, you got to see what the sound was like there. And maybe when there was a gig there next time, you're like, fuck, I remember the PA issue, I remember they had shitty foldbacks, so you've got experience with a different venue. And that's really useful because you're like, okay, when we play there, let's remember that those foldbacks were shit, so we're going to need to make sure we can hear each other, otherwise we're not going to be able to play together. Or just things like that, and then you meet the mixer who was there on the night. You're like, hey, you introduce yourself to them, see what they're into, because they're mixing, they're probably mixing another place, and they might have other connections, and be super personal with everyone that you in any kind of instance. At
That's
any
a good
kind
tip.
Of gig.
So you think that the networking is really the key behind everything
100%.
that a band is in?
Yeah, you could be a pretty mediocre band, and if you've got good networking, you could fucking go anywhere, because you've just met nice people, and you can you can support, how many times have you gone and seen like a really rad band, and the support act was shit? Like I'm talking like pretty big bands. Who did we see? I think we saw The Darkness or something like that, and their support act was crappy. They seem like they just started and they've just known the guy who was setting the thing up and was like, we'll throw you on, no one gives a shit. And all of a sudden I'm like, these guys don't know what's going on. I don't even think that these two guys can hear each other, and the drummer seems like a complete novice and he's not doing much. I feel like I could do better than him, and I can't play drums for shit. So they're just really, I shouldn't give them too much of a crack. They're a band as well, and they're trying to get exposure, but I mean, they weren't that good, and I bet it was just pure connections, those guys. So,
So
you
networking is key.
Networking is 100% key, yeah. And now you've got a few more resources at your disposal with technology. With, Facebook, obviously, is a good way to get that. I mean, some people might get a bit annoyed if you're like, Facebook can't even tell them about gigs. But
I've had people message me personally and say, can you please stop trying to make me add your band?
Yeah, not necessarily add your band, but you can just at least say, there's going to be a gig this weekend or something, but then try and throw a sell point in there. I don't know. And sometimes it might be even useful to try and set up your own gigs. I'm not sure. It might be a bit hard to do that, but and especially, like, say, there's a market going on somewhere down near the waterfront, and there's going to be heaps of stalls. There's already going to be quite a few people there. Or like Paco Festa, you can play. There's sometimes you have a few.
Yeah, they have a few bands, don't they?
Yeah, and there's already a shitload of people walking past.
They're just walking past.
Yeah, so even if they're not there specifically to see, if they walk past, they go, "Oh, that's kind of cool." They might stick around, check you out. All right, cool. They remember your name or whatever. You just go up and chat to the people that did stick around and be like, "Yeah, what's up? This is us. We're playing here in the next few days. If you want to come check us out, if you come and I see you, I'll let you in for free or something. Like just." Do really super nice things. People are like, oh yeah, those guys are really cool. Let me see them for free and stuff like that. So that way you start to be real nice, and they'll start talking to people and be like, yeah, they were real nice. So you start getting your connections out there. And the more creative you are, the better off you'll be. Yeah.
That's actually really good advice.
Yeah, that is. That's quite handy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, probably not so much with the metal band, because I feel like the metal band is more about atmosphere. But just in bands in general, do you think like a frontman is better, or do you think like a band that has banter with each other and like Blink-182 will talk shit about each other to each other on stage just for the hell of it, or do you think it's like you need that one dude at the front who is just like charismatic and talks to the crowd and that kind of thing?
Why don't we have both? You should have both. You should have everyone being cool, but the front man's always going to stand out the most because he's singing and he's introduced the songs and he's talking to people, so people are going to recognise him straight up no matter what, more than everyone else, unless you have some crazy ass cases where people know Gene Simmons and stuff. He's the bassist, so very rare exceptions. That's Kiss, and then there's probably, and then most, if you say Blink-182, a lot of people probably just say Travis Barker first thing as well. But yeah, anyways, I reckon it's good to have a good mix, but you definitely want someone to be charismatic. And in terms of like your presence on stage, it's good to have something different. Everyone is a band. If you go see a band, everyone has the same kind of setup, guitars and drums and whatever. Yeah. And, we were kind of a little bit different because we had a keyboard, so that's something cool. Mm-hmm. But then fucking bring some props, put them on stage. How hard is it to make a prop? I don't know, put a fucking lion head on a stick and just leave it on the stage, and that's just your thing. People are like, fuck, isn't this guy's had some weird lion head on their stage? It's strange, This is a pure example. Yeah, so when we used to play, once we had we had a giant banner at one point, and then after all we had a projector, which we made like a video clip of just random shit like flames and coffins exploding, I don't know, some real fucking strange shit. And we had that projected up behind us, and then we had these fake flame lanterns, and we brought our own lights and lasers, so we always looked like we had way more shit going on in the bands that support us, because we get to turn on extra lights. We got to turn on our smoke machine, we got to put on our projector, and, we also always made a theme entrance song. So that was just getting played over the PA before we came out. It was just like this kind of eerie kind of, soundtrack as well. So we had like people going, fuck, they're coming on, and we just have like a few lights flickering here. Yeah. We were all about our stage show.
That seems like a very appropriate thing for a metal band, like that real atmosphere building. I know we played it with a band who tried to do the same thing, but they weren't metal in any way. They were just like what kind of genre were they?
I would have said that they were maybe alternative synth rock.
Yeah, okay. So we'll go with that. And they would try the same thing, where they would... probably not psychedelic, really.
It's more of a mix of, let's say, maybe Linkin Park and someone maybe like... I don't want to say Carnival because...
No, probably a bit more mainstream rocky than that. But they tried the same deal, but it didn't really come across right.
Yeah,
like it.
Expecting something different when you saw.
Well, like you hear this, like, it's like it was like a keys thing, and a bit of drums, and like ka-choo.
Yeah,
but it just looked dumb. Like like they looked.
It needs to suit your look. You can't, have this fucking crazy. It'd be real weird if we came out and started playing punk rock without starting, because it was eerie. It felt like a horror movie was starting, and then we'd make sure we'd tell heaps of people that they're our mates are in the crowd, just like tell everyone to shut up. Just like hit them like shh. I'm always coming. It's just kind of like do real silly stuff like that. And so like so it was just like funny shit like that. So I don't know if the other guys did, but I used to do that. And so we kind of built that kind of cool presence. So we were separated more from normal bands, I guess.
Yeah,
and so
that kind of
so
shuts
even
it up
though
a level.
if you're just a standard rock band, just do something weird. Just put something weird on stage, or just do something slightly different to separate you. Not necessarily in terms of music, but in terms of just how you look up there.
I like the idea of I tried this with an incarnation or version of the band that Ash and I are in at the moment.
Yeah.
Like we thought, well, what if we just wear formal things, like we all wear like a white shirt, black vest, or something like that, and have like that instant separator off the bat. It's like, oh, you know that band that always wears formal gear, like something like that.
Yeah.
Something
Maybe being more original. I feel like a lot of people do.
A lot of people do that kind of thing, but that was just like a small thing someone could do to.
Yeah. But again, that's still something different, you know.
Because most bands would just rock up in jeans and a t-shirt, and you go, well, that like when we played Spin Cycle, the band that was on before us, they were all wearing formal gear. So again, it is something that some people do, but that made them stand out a little bit more because nobody else the entire night did that.
Yeah.
And he had a big curly mustache, actually.
Yeah, see, that's good.
Again, Ash is rocking a curly mustache right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something like that. Because I know it seems very genre specific. Like you can get away with it a lot easier with metal stuff, like Slipknot wearing masks and costumes and Mushroom Head, those kind of bands. They do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's more difficult for a more mainstream genre like a folk band or something like that, or just pop rock, anything like that. It seems like you wouldn't be able to get away with as much.
Well, you know, maybe you just got to try, and maybe that'll be your new thing. Maybe you'll start it, because just because it's not done doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I reckon it's probably a good idea. If you come up with something cool enough and creative enough and not too strange to people, like, what the fuck are they doing up there? You know, just something little, and then you can always kind of snowball that later on and be like, okay, this is now a thing. People are into this. This is cool. You know, I reckon it's cool to have that little difference.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So with looking at other bands when you were playing, what two keys in those bands made you walk away with them stuck in your head? Or made you want to go look them up on then MySpace, which would probably be Facebook now, and give them a like or something like that? Yeah. Like actually chase them down. What elements on stage would bands have to absolutely capture your attention?
Well, earlier on, it's probably slowly changed, but earlier on when we first met, like Makeshift, which are a perfect fit, or the other way around, I can't remember. But
I think Makeshift was first. Yeah,
I think it was Makeshift. Yeah, so whenever we met like those guys, I think we played with them like maybe first the Potato Shit or something like that. I'd never really had a taste of music back then. I was just kind of like, I'm into everything. I don't know what I like. But yeah, when I saw those guys, they were super cool on stage, and he was a real lovely guy, and being real cool, and just, I think it was just more his personality that was pulling me. I was like, man, I want to watch these guys because they're entertaining. You know, I wasn't even really caring too much about the music. He was just, you know, real loud, fucking jumping around, jumping on the crowd, cracking jokes in between songs, you know, just really personable, and just, you know, they were just like had heaps of energy, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'd watch them again. I don't really even remember their song. I just remember they were fun to watch, and they were cool, and they were cool dudes afterwards, and you know, they hung out in the crowd as well, that kind of stuff. And then later on, I don't know, I did love the bands that were slightly different. They had a bit of a different take on that, either that genre, either via music or how they, you know, what they did on stage, just different things like that as well. Yeah.
Do you think merch, like just having a small CD or a shirt, helps people kind of remember you, regardless of if they buy it or not? They see it's there. It seems like a step up from just a regular band as well.
Yeah, if you've got merch, I think people might be like, okay, they get around a bit. You know, I think that's maybe a subconscious thing almost. But if you've got
have to sell the illusion.
Yeah, just sell the thing that we're fucking massive, or just, you know, put on American accents or not. Be like, we're from the States, you know, we're from Colorado, and we play this kind of music, and we're pretty big over there, and we're trying to have a crack out over here, guys. You know, just try that, and then people be like, "Fuck yeah, this is a cool American band." You know, they were rad. and then just, you know, something like that. And then if you've got a big wall of T-shirts, just maybe you've got 2 designs, just fucking stack them up so they're, you know, really you know, everyone can see him, and then have like a table and just fucking pay someone or buy someone a few beers just to manage the table if people come buy t-shirts or whatever. And then even like throw one out at the end of the night after the gig, if you know, so one of the dudes is actually getting into it the most.
Yeah,
Something like that. And
I
then,
always find that's fairly off-putting to. I'm guilty of it myself, like having everybody stand real far back and not getting anywhere near the stage.
yeah.
And it's just that.
If people do that, get off the stage and go and play in front of them. If you can. You got wireless guitars or your long lead, just bring the show close to them, and then just start to step back or grab people like, come on, party with us, you know, just do that. Just get in their face.
I'm always scared of getting in their face because I feel like...
Not too much in their face,
I
but
was going to say, because
you
they turn. I'd be worried that they'd just like, fuck you, and walk out completely, and they're like,
But if they're standing up the front and watching you, they're just waiting for someone else to get in the middle, you know. So the other option is if you've got mates coming to watch you that same night, just get them to come stand right up the front, and then no one has to be the first person to do it.
True.
You know, or just have a few extra beers on stage if you're playing over 18, of course, or whatever. But just so anyone who comes up here gets free beer. And then just hand the beers to the dudes that come up the front. I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, it depends if you're trying to really make money out of the night, or maybe you'll just only break even. But what the fuck, you know, maybe you'll make $40 or whatever on a small show or whatever. What use is that really, you know?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that when you split it amongst you guys?
True.
So you just buy a few beers and pass it out, and you know, there's another thing, personal people like, yeah, they gave us free beers. They were cool. I'll see them again. If they hand out free beers, let's go watch them again because we might get more free beers. You know?
And then they get sucked in by the music.
Yeah, totally. And then if they keep seeing you, because I think, you know, you never really love a song when you hear it only once.
No.
So if you go see a band a few times,
impossible.
after a while, you're like, fuck, yeah, actually, these guys are cool. I mean, they get free beers, but I'm not coming here for the free beers anymore. They're actually cool, so, you know.
I think this was the trick with the Bare Naked Ladies, but that was just a side thought. But there's a band called Free Beer.
Yeah.
Because when they put it on the outside of the pub, it says, tonight, free beer. And everyone's like, oh, shit, yeah, free beer. And they all go in, and it's just a band. I feel like that would backfire on them so many times that people would just be like, well, I want free beer, though. I don't...
Boo this man.
Boo him now!
Just say, oh, it's all gone, man. We had free beer, but it's all gone.
Anyway, I'm from Free Beer.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence. I know, right? Same night.
Or you figure out how much they're going to pay you and just, you know, spend half that money on a few slaps and just leave them up the front. But yeah, you can take a beer. You can stay and watch us, you know.
I think technically it's probably more of a question for Ash because you've only been in Lamort, yeah? Like you haven't been in any other bands really?
No, not really. I've helped out.
Yeah.
Little bits and pieces, but I never... Yeah,
and you were never like a key songwriter? Like you say you just kind of chuck in some bass lines and stuff like...
Yeah, I would have never have written a full song
Right.
by myself.
I'll get your opinion anyway,
Yeah.
but just as a general thing, I've been in a bunch of bands and Ash has been in a few bands and stuff, and I always feel like it seems like a sore point to try and reuse songs from old bands.
Mm.
Me personally, I feel like if I've written the majority of a song and like the band has contributed their individual parts, which always happens, but I feel like if the band fell apart or I left or something, I could still play the songs that I've written.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be a waste of a perfectly good song, especially if you like it, to be like, oh, well, no, that's that band's song. I can't. Out of respect, I won't play it or something like that. I feel like you should be able to keep your own songs if you've written them, even if it's to the extent where you just have to rework it or something to make people happy. But
Yeah, if you've got people out there that really dig the song, then maybe keep playing it. But I mean, there's an infinite amount of combinations and types of songs you can make. And if you're just in a band making music for the sake of making music, you're just kind of like, oh, this sounds cool, that sounds cool. I feel like you should give yourself a bit more purpose than just playing a few notes and going, okay, yeah, that's a cool riff, or that's cool. You should be like, okay, what are we about? And then, you know, be like, alright, we're fucking angry about fucking this. Let's start singing about this and let's play stuff towards, you know, that feeling. Or you might be like, I feel like it's nice to give yourself a bit more focus and say, we just don't make the genre your kind of walls. I feel like you should be like, okay, we're all in this stage of our life and we feel this and we like these things about the music and what do you like about the bands you listen to? What are they singing about? You know, just kind of get a feel for that. And I feel like if you give yourself a bit more direction, you know, or I feel like that is a better way to write music than
yeah, but like not necessarily writing music though, but like
Or even
everything-
hanging on to your music, maybe you don't feel the same as you did when you wrote those first songs, you know. And if
Yeah,
you're
true.
making
I mean,
those first
I've
songs-
left songs behind. Like, I've written songs and played them, and like, yeah, I'm not real keen. I don't really mind if we don't play it ever again.
Yeah,
But there's those choice songs where you're just like really happy with it. You're like, that is just a well put together song, and I want to keep playing that for a very long time.
yeah,
And I mean, everything I write on an acoustic guitar now.
Mm.
But that gets translated to electric guitar, distortions, drums, all that kind of stuff gets chucked in as well.
yeah,
But I feel like if you can go from acoustic to that, you can go from acoustic to pretty much anything. Like, you can funk the beat up a little bit, and that would work with a funk rock band. Like,
yeah.
I think it's hard in previous bands. For instance, there is a song in a previous band that I would like to rework, only because when we wrote that song originally, when I wrote that song on guitar, and then it actually got translated into a whole band, it wasn't the vision I had for that song, but it was the one that worked for that band.
Yeah.
So I think on maybe that situation, you could probably give it new life and be the song you always wanted it to be,
Totally.
rather than just kind of settling for what we let it be.
yeah.
I think on those kind of terms, I mean, you look at big bands at the moment who are suing each other for, you know, the creative control over songs.
Like Guns N' Roses.
Stone Temple Pilots, man.
Stone Temple Pilots. See.
Those guys are completely divided at the moment. I think unless you really give that song new life and the original purpose it was supposed to have, it's almost better left behind.
Mm.
And I think maybe when you start writing with a new bunch of people, you almost kind of want to start that whole new ball, and you want to write new stuff and then go from scratch. So it's a process where you all get to start it and not just kind of dragging
And it's great when
something
you
old into other people's process.
It's good when you make it with other people, so you're not playing, you know, stuff that, you know, you're not just learning a song that someone else wrote and played. If you are all part of the creative part of that song, and so even though I didn't really write any of the riffs, I got to write the bass line. No one else wrote the bass.
Yeah,
no one
exactly.
else wrote the drums. So I still got to make and play how I like to play it, and I'm not playing how anyone else told me how to play. So you're still getting to add your little touch to the song, and you get to do
of
things that
course.
you enjoy playing,
Yeah.
and see if you can get away with them. You know, maybe I fucking throw a little pops in it, maybe no one will notice. Alright, cool, no one knows. Sounds good, you know. And then sometimes you're like, I've got a really cool idea. Do you mind if just the bass and the keyboards go for this part, and you know, or you just do little bits of variations, and it sounds really cool. Like,
And that's the thing. That's like I guess different types of songwriting. Like we've done both. Like there'll be days where I'm just at home and I pick up the guitar and all I ever do is chords and sing. Like it's the most basic thing you can do. And sometimes only half a song. And I go, oh, that's really cool. I like the way that sounds. I'll take that to the rest of the guys, show them, and if they like it, we'll work on it. But then there's times where we'll be fucking around at band practice and you start playing some chords, like, yeah, that's cool. And then the drums kick in and then you like put a melody over the top and you're like, okay, that's a song. We've done that a few times. And that's really cool, having those two very different styles of songwriting. Like sometimes I'll come in with a completed song and be like, alright, so I don't know why, but for some reason I've figured out this entire song. We're going to do a verse and chorus and a bridge, and this bit's going to go quiet and that going to go loud. And I mean, everybody still puts in their own pieces. I don't sit there and tell Ash to like play toms 3 times and then snare. And
yeah, of course. Yeah.
I suggest things sometimes, and I'm not a drummer, so I just go, make it sound poppier, like make it bouncy.
More cymbals. Smash things louder.
No, it's too thick. Make it thinner.
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's how you discover. Yeah, it's too loud. Play less loud.
Could you play less, but more? Like maybe quieter, but a lot more. It doesn't.
Hit a different drum, not that one.
Yeah,
Hit that
how's
one.
that one? No, I don't like that. No. What about that one? No. You know what? I don't know. You just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We did do that in recording, so that's not that funny. It was like, oh shit, really?
Yeah, we recently went into recording, which gonna use that for another episode. But yeah, interesting things happen.
Cool.
I think we've covered a lot of basic band stuff. I don't know if it's gonna help anybody, but
I'm trying to think of anything else.
So as a recap, Bo, 5 tips that you would give any young, starting, or maybe even advanced but still local band, considering that you've been amongst the big ones and you've both played you know, big supports. You played big
We've played, yeah.
everything basically. So what
We
kind of
did- yeah, I
tips
think
would
we
you
did
give
pretty
any regular Joe sitting there with these bandmates wanting to actually take the next step and be bigger than what they are?
Alright, so the first thing is make yourself different, either via your music or via your look. You know, there's 100,000 rock bands out there. If you're just another rock band, you're just getting pulled with them. Why would someone listen to you when there's already a reasonably successful band out there doing the same thing, and I can get them easy because I can just go on fucking iTunes and download the music or whatever. So I think you always need to have a bit of a pull, something that kind of sucks you in, and so yeah, that's either via music or if you're on stage. You know, like I said, put a fucking lion head on your stage. I don't know. Have a sheep running around in a little pen up there. I don't know.
Actually, sorry, just to interrupt you. Having said that, Dave's brother's band, Silhouette.
Yeah.
I remember I went to their EP launch.
Had the giant spider thing.
They had a dude on stilts being
Yeah.
led around by a guy in a demon mask with
Yeah.
a chain.
Yeah.
And he was just, it
Looks
was
like a
the
spider.
creepiest thing. And I remember that.
Yeah.
That was
So,
awesome.
there you go. So those guys were kind of like gothic kind of metal. Like they weren't, they weren't black metal. They weren't really like us. They're completely different thing. They were probably quite heavily inspired by Korn.
But again, metal, you can get away with those kind of
yeah,
things.
totally. But then that was really cool because that when we were being metal, there's quite a few other metal bands kicking around, and they they had that was their different thing. You know, that was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that I was more interested in bands that look different. The second tip would be to have you get out and amongst your fans and be super personal. Don't just be up on stage, do your set, and then piss off and disappear.
I'm so guilty of doing that.
Hang
You
out.
are. You're the worst for doing that.
To be fair, it's usually on a weekend, and I'm like, I've just had a really big week. I
Yeah.
just need to go to bed.
No, that's the time when you should be doing that. That's the time you're like, yeah.
I need to like have a few more
beers.
drinks, I think, in a...
Rather than
Yeah,
us
don't
just
be an
standing there
adult,
saying, where's Robin?
Don't be an
no,
adult.
He's done a Robin.
Be young forever. I mean, in Germany, for example, when I was over there, people finish studying when they're late 20s, and sometimes around 30, and most of my mates over there who just finished studying, and I was 23, and I was working over there with these guys, they're all 30, but they're fucking wanting to party every night, and go out to the nightclub every night, and just go see bands. Like, fuck! I'm way too old. I'm growing up too fast. I want to come home and buy a house. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to just do what these do until I'm 30, I think we've got a different mindset, but I was like, I love that, 30's still young. So,
Yeah.
anyways. So, yeah, get out amongst your bands, hang out, get to the show even earlier, and talk to the other bands, because you get friendly with other bands as well. Then it's, then they might be able to pull in. If you get really friendly with them, they might have a gig up there, and you're like, oh, cool, is the set full? Can we get in on that? And they're like, yeah, sure, I'll ask the guys in control. So make friends with heaps of other bands as well. You're not their competition, you're all together making music, and you're part of the same creative
It's more like friendly competition than lyrical competition.
Yeah. Unless it is a competition, you're in competition. But if you're not in a competition and you're playing the same music, you guys should be fucking friends. You're the next wave of modern music that's going to be coming in. All these old dudes are going to die. There's a constant flow of music coming in, and then it disappears, and then the next rate, comes through. So, yeah. So what was the first one? I don't remember what the first one was. And the second one was be friendly, effective.
First one was being different.
Be different, be friendly.
Network.
3 would be...
Coordinate.
It's kind of like... Kind of bundled up in those first two, but yeah, 3 can be networking, because I'm not sure if I'll get to 5, but we'll see what happens. 3 is networking. 4...
Practice.
Practice, yeah. I was going to say that. Practice a shitload. And get good at what you do. I mean, I was probably guilty a lot of the time where I didn't practice that much, and, we winged a lot of stuff. And, like, in recording, it was a bit messy, and then, they had to fix up a few things all in the recording side of things, whereas he wouldn't have had to do that if I had played my stuff like perfectly solid, it's issues like that. So be solid with your music, practice. And the 5th one, which we kind of talked about earlier, is set goals. I reckon that's a really good idea. Have something to look forward to, because if you have nothing, if you don't have a gig for over a month or whatever, and you're still practicing, what the fuck have you got to look forward to? Why would you want to go in and practice? Why would you want to go to a music room after you've just finished work? All you want to do is fucking go home and watch Breaking Bad, and you're too tired to go practice. But if you got something to look forward to, like, fuck yeah, we've got a gig, I'm pretty keen to practice. Or you can be just one of those crazy guys who loves playing music every second of his life, and playing music after work is fucking great. I mean, that's awesome for you guys, but I felt like that half the time, and half the time I just want to watch Breaking Bad, or whatever TV show I was into 5 years ago. So,
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well, it's been very helpful. I think.
I hope it has. I don't know if it has. That was all my experience. Maybe it's completely different.
I
I don't
know.
know.
There was some gems in there.
Yeah.
There was some gems.
You know,
I learned some stuff today.
I learned some stuff today.
We both learned some stuff.
Oh,
I feel like it'll be a much better band just being the host of the show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chances are we probably won't even put this on the website, and we'll just keep all the knowledge.
Yeah, we'll
for
just keep all of
ourselves.
that. Yeah, we'll keep it for ourselves, and everyone will be like, "You guys got really good all of a sudden."
Yeah.
But see, the thing is that I'm shit, really. I've had a single experience from a single band. There's probably, if another guy had a single experience from a single band, he'd probably have a completely different take on everything. He'd be like, nah, you should do this. Don't fucking do what that guy's. He's an idiot. You know, he got lucky. They were just lucky. You know, it was all luck based. There's no truth there. You could go that way. So
Maybe we'll get like an old cynical musician in and have him.
yeah,
About
to counter me. Yeah,
years
so
and years
don't
of
take what I take as
podcasts.
gospel.
I hate the world.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I'm alive.
Yeah. So yeah, everything's completely different. You might find something that works for you, but you got to keep on trying and keep on trying new things. And if it doesn't work, well, fuck, you know, that's the best way to learn is by failing. So you just got to keep trying.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We've done that a few times. So
Yes, we've failed
must be
so many
amazing.
times. So good now.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. If you fail a million times, you're a million times better than everyone else. By that logic.
That's a good logic to go by.
we're at least 43 times better than other people. So far.
Yeah, but you know, no one's ever going to be perfect. That's just how it is. But let's not get too philosophical here and
No.
leave it on that note, perhaps.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you stayed for this long, tune in next time when we talk about something else slightly more complicated than starting a band.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Woo.
Woo! And thank you both for popping along. And
Yes. Yay,
all of your gems and advice.
No problem. You can probably get one of the other more boys in and they'll be like, fuck. Why
I don't know what the fuck Bo
Bo
was talking about.
He doesn't know shit. He was just hanging out in the background, being high, playing bass with his legs crossed in the corner. Who knows what that guy was thinking, you know? But, yeah, so it'd be interesting to get one of those guys' takes. But yeah, anyways. Fun times.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed this. I made a curry. I'm going to go home and eat that curry.
You do that.
And cut some more onions.
And because I'm addicted to cutting onions and garlic, I'm
Yes,
just going to
bro.
fucking do that.
This
I'm
is
on that
actually
show.
not even about bands. This is your
This is an
intervention.
intervention.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's taking us long to get into this, but yes, this is an intervention for
I was
you.
on that
Thought
show.
we'd make
What
you
was that show?
comfortable.
With the horrible addictions?
My strange addiction.
Yeah, I'll be on that soon. I just fucking love chopping onion and garlic. It's just what I do.
I hate
Just
chopping.
you know.
I
using
like the
my-
smell of garlic. I don't mind when I have the smell of garlic in my hands for a few days. I'm like, garlic, but I hate cutting onions. Because you cut them like,
Yeah.
no, I'm alright. You get all the way through it, you scrape it into the pot, you're like, shit, it hit me. My eyes, oh god.
I do it on the range hood, like on the fucking where the range hood is,
Fans.
and I turn the fan on and then have it away from me and I cut like this and it fucking goes up in there. Boom.
That's a genius idea. We don't have a range hood.
Then have a fan. Use a fan. Just blow the fumes out of here.
Yeah,
and
that's
to
a
get
good
rid of the
idea
smell of onions on your hands, I think you can rub your hands on aluminium and somehow that gets rid of it. That's not peer reviewed yet, but I read it somewhere, so you can try it out. And
That's
if it
just-
works-
just based on
another
anecdotal.
segment that we'll probably be doing.
Is that just based off anecdotal evidence?
no, I read it somewhere and semi-anecdotal because when I did it, I felt like it worked, but I'm not sure if it was a placebo effect. My brain was like, "No, you can't smell any more onions." So that's what I mean. Not peer-reviewed.
Yes.
Don't know.
Okay,
if it-
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of anything else. You know, this can be like the Easter egg at the end of the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm just gonna have all of this in here. If people turn it off, good for them. If not, they get to hear about you chopping up.
Well,
onions
you know,
and-
now they know how to
Oh.
cut onions and how to get rid of the smell of onions.
That's true. I mean,
Disclaimer.
this is what the show could end up being after we run out of music-related info.
See, I love
Just
talking about this
onions.
stuff. You'd be better off just having like a few bottles of vodka or something in the middle, and then just get real drunk while you're doing it.
I was considering that. I was thinking about going to get a slab.
Hilarious times.
Maybe for later on.
Yeah.
I'm a much better drunk than I am a sober person.
And we're all way more interesting. Well, at least we think we are.
Yeah, we think we are. So therefore, it must be good.
We'll all think we're super eloquent and be like, "Oh yes, how fine was that show the other day?" Or
Yeah, that's
fancy
rather-
things that happened. And then you'll listen to the podcast and be like,
You're probably yeah.
I fucking stuck my finger at the cat's butt and I don't know what the fuck happened." But in your head you'll be like, you know, we did.
That was a really funny story I told.
yeah. And everyone's like vomiting. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, so that's going to happen next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're still listening.
The one dude who's just hanging out, like, oh, they're going to say something cool, you know, they're going to give me something free if I stick around long enough. But how would you even prove if you stuck around the longest?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think probably the only person who will listen to this point will probably be Dando when he's reviewing it.
Wait, he's going to review this one?
I don't know, he might. I'm going to give it to him.
I don't know anything about this. What's happening? Where's it going?
Alright,
What
so...
website is it on? That's probably a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about that.
There's a
torrentthis.com
website.
It's gay porn.
Cool, yeah.
Who are breaking into the music scene.
So when I'm looking at my gay porn, I can just look to the left and I can see...
Yeah, well, what it will be,
Yeah,
it's like
okay.
an alternate audio track.
Yeah.
So you can watch your gay porn without it sounding like you're watching
That's
gay porn.
really useful.
Yeah.
I need that. I like to listen...
www.ragingtoner.com.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I like to have the sound of just weird things happening in the background when I watch my gay porn, like, you know, people opening and closing fridges. Just, it's just kind of like, and then, you know, it's got that little bit of suction and the air kind of comes in and out because it might be warmer outside than it is in there, so it's kind of like, and then you just kind of like, oh, what's that? And then, you know, it kind of sounds like entering the man's butt. So, you know, it's just, you know, things I like to have in the background of my gay porn. So this is a good, you know, I could throw that in there with my fridge noises. And
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. No, but really though, it's for torrentthis.com.au,
Yeah, cool.
which is a fairly new site. I think it's like only a week and a half or two old.
Yeah, it's a few weeks old.
Yeah.
And it's just like local Geelong music-y news and
Cool.
whatnot. We're on there once so far.
Cool.
I'm gonna rack them up hopefully. But like a lot of people will go on and do like acoustic versions of songs, interviews and stuff. Dando's interviewed some cool people like Seth Sentry.
Yeah,
One of
cool.
them. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. There's a couple other biggish names and whatnot. But he used to work on
Rudimental.
Rudimental.
And lots of people.
he used to work on the Pulse, doing a music show and stuff.
And pro.
Cool. Do you guys get into Reddit at all? I feel like you should get a bit of exposure via them as well. Not that there's huge amounts of people on that site from
I don't know
Geelong,
what
but
that is.
Well,
they call themselves the front page of the internet, but there's heaps of like these things called subreddits.
I love some
Layman.
subreddits.
Yeah, where you'd be able to like just go to subreddit podcast probably or subreddit music and be like, hey guys, there's a new local kind of music podcast which talks about starting your band, and people who aren't even from Geelong
I
or
was
even
trying to
Australia will be
make it-
like, fuck yeah, I'm in a star band, maybe this is useful for me.
I was trying to make it not specific to like how to make your band successful in Geelong, just
Yeah.
how to
And
make
plus the
bands
bands, you know,
go
I
well.
played with a lot of them were from around the world, so
Yeah.
people know who they are. So at least maybe I have some
credibility.
some fraction of credibility. So yeah, maybe that'll be useful. But yeah,
Sick.
you got to get your name out there more via these crazy different means.
We're trying one marketing idea at the moment
Yeah.
where every 100 likes we get on Facebook, one of us has to do something different. For instance, I copped an arse load of milk to
Yeah.
the
Just
face,
sit in the milk picture of the fridge at work.
and we're going to present that in a picture frame to the poor girl. Who,
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
The 300 like.
That's a good idea.
The next-
See, that's different. I love it.
Well, the next 100, I'm going to be a musical interpreter for an hour. I'm going to take
Yeah.
my guitar with me and just follow them around.
Yeah.
And so, if, for example, if they want to order some fish and chips, they'd be like, "Can you say that I want a flake and minimum chips?" And I'm like, "I want some flake and a minimum chips." Do-do-do.
I
Just
did
that for an
too.
hour.
Perfect.
I just really hope someone like
Carve
wants
them
to
a
break up with
sculpture
their girlfriend
out
or
of some
something.
clay, but then don't bake it in the oven. Just some clay out of the ground and just carve it and just give it to them. And just, you know, it's a little clay sculpture. Be like, you have to bake it in your
Customly
own
named.
oven
Yeah.
because we couldn't find a kiln, but you got a little clay dude.
I like the idea. That I'd like to like make Dylan, our guitarist,
There you go.
like do someone's portrait.
Yeah.
I'll lend him my easel. I've got an easel. We'll give him some paints, and he just has to. I don't think he's an
The
artist.
least
so
artistic person in the inside man does a portrait of someone.
I think that would be
That
fun.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like
Well, that's
that.
Dylan's then. He can do 500.
Al still has to do the gardening in his bikini.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Al's gonna garden in a bikini.
Cool. Someone's garden. Does he have to do their garden?
Yes, the winner's garden.
So
So he's
Whoever
got my
gets
weed.
that particular 100th like.
Yep.
Awesome.
sweet.
All right. So let's get a photo because we'll need a.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up. Should you
Yeah,
say
I'm
something
gonna-
that's something like wrap it up? Do you want me to wrap it up? Should you
Yes,
guess
Actually,
wrap
the
it up?
guest of the week
Guest of the week gets to wrap it
gets
up.
to wrap it up.
Guess.
Oh, I was like, guess the week. How many guests have you had? I'm the best. Sweet. I thought you said, you know.
But
Yeah,
you're
guest. You're the
no,
best guest of the week.
You
Yeah.
literally have to.
All right,
rap.
guys, this is a wrap.
Go. Give
That's
us,
it.
Give us a rapping outro.
You gotta
I
rap
can't
it
rap.
and rhyme. Fully sick rap.
Do you want me to beatbox really badly?
Oh fuck! I used to say this rap all the time, and then it never went in. I was like, I'm gonna be a rap artist. I'm gonna come up with a rap. And I used to be something like, "Freeze, motherfucker, take that, hanging, orangutangan," and then it never went any further than that. So that's it, guys. See you later.